Another legend of the game suggesting something, and the stats that he had to back it up I thought were pretty good. I don't know if you have them or anyone saw them, but Buffon suggests increasing the goal size. I thought about our last segment when we talked about change something about the game that like wouldn't change something but the kind of would. And I thought about this. What do you think? As I can tell by your face, it looks like you're like, what are you thinking?
It's a lot easier to say now. Like, he's done, so he's not going to have to deal with that. But it's like, why would you change it? Like, what? I mean, I didn't even look it up, but I saw the quote. I don't know his reasoning, but as soon as I saw the quote, I was like, this is another Arsene Wenger type of thing that you want to just change just to change.
Yeah, he said, like, basically the goal size has been the same for 50, 60 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's harder to score now because people are taller, people are stronger, defenses are better. So, like, the overall amount of goals now versus back in the day has decreased. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense from that argument. Whereas, like, think about it. If you changed it in a way that instead of having an average of, let's say, 2 goals a game, now you have an average of 4 goals a game.
I guarantee no goalkeeper's going to say yeah to that.
Of course no goalkeeper's going to say that. It's not a terrible argument. It makes sense. You're not, it's not like saying, okay, let's make each goal worth 5 points now like football, like American football. It kind of makes sense, but it is kind of comical at the same time because when you look at the comment section, one guy was like, that's one way to preserve your records.
I mean, that's literally it. Like,
so if it would have came from somebody else's mouth, it makes sense. Center midfielder.
I mean, you can make the argument on the flip side of it. You just want to, like...
I'm just saying it's just like funny that it comes directly from the guy...
who holds it.
Who holds records that now it won't affect them, but it affects everybody else.
Mm-hmm. The stats that I saw, I think it said something around like back when the laws originally came in like the first, let's say 10 or 15 years or whatever, it was like an average of every 10 here it is. 30 years ago, there were 10 goals for every 50 shots. Today, there are 3 out of every 50. So that what he's saying is that like when it was originally put in place and what the viewers get from the game now compared to then isn't the same, which I can see it from that standpoint.
From what, 30 years ago?
I don't know if this is actually like legit. I just pulled this up on Reddit, but it kind of gives the idea. So don't take the numbers as gospel because this is on Reddit. But yeah, 30 years ago there were 10 goals for every 50
30 years
shots.
ago nobody defended either. So,
but again, those are things that's how they change the laws, right? When they look at the course of history, how things change, they have to make adjustments along with it. Yeah. Whereas like before, again, we talked about the pass back rule. That used to not be a problem, and then it became a problem. Mm-hmm. And so they changed it. The goals. Before, they used to score a lot more goals. So it was never a problem. The goals were the right size. But now, let's say in the next 20 years, that goes down to every 2 of 50 shots goes in. Now they're going to be like, well, it's a problem because now nobody's scoring goals. Mm-hmm. Or now every game or every one out of every 2 games is 0-0. Now you're talking about an actual problem that needs to be changed.
Because, like, I guess the thing is, I know it's like a lot of these things at first they sound crazy, but as the game evolves, like at the end of the day, sport is for entertainment. That if the entertainment value is going down and viewership's going down, things of that nature, you want to get ahead of it. Because if you don't change, I think you can become what baseball is in America now, which nobody watches baseball compared to what it was 10, 15 years ago. And they could have changed a lot of the rules a lot sooner, like the shot clock and things, and they didn't, and to like speed the games up. Now they're doing it, but I think it's too late, and I think it's a sport that will sadly over time die. I actually hate baseball, so I don't think it's that sad. But
I mean, I don't see it as a problem now, though. Like,
no, not yet, maybe.
But you want to get ahead of it before it is a problem, I guess is kind of what I'm saying. Because if it ever gets to the point where people are talking about it, that means there's millions of people across the world that aren't watching it now, or are watching it less. But on the flip side of that, you could argue that the most exciting World Cup final of all time is the most recent one.
Yeah.
So is the game
we just
actually
watched Real Madrid Let's Go 5-3. Liverpool, Fulham, 2-1.
Yeah.
Like-
That 5-3 game though, there were some
I
absolute
don't think it-
disaster goals. in that.
They were pretty
I don't think it's a problem now, but it does make sense if you look at the trends over history, right? Like it makes sense if you're looking at that. But here's the other thing, though. People think that it's got to be a crazy change. Literally, it could be a matter of a couple of inches.
You add 6 inches to each side and make them go, 2-3 inches taller? Not much changes there, but a lot of goals that don't go in now go in. And it would almost be like you wouldn't even be able to notice it to the naked eye.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to notice it. The keepers would definitely notice it, and that sucks. But, like, we're talking about shots. Okay, I mean, I don't know the stats, but are we not scoring because the shots are just shit in terms of they're not even hitting the target or going over or not even near the goal? Or are they scoring because the goalkeepers are actually saving them a lot more than usual?
I think
It's a mixture of both. I mean, just look at goalkeepers now compared to 15 years ago. I mean, back when Peter Cech and Van der Sar were so good because they were so big, and now are they that big compared to the goalkeepers that are playing? Does a Donnarumma, like from a height standpoint, how tall is Van der Sar? Would you say?
I think they were pretty tall. Like Peter Cech's pretty tall.
Yeah, Peter Cech's tall.
But
That's pretty tall.
it's not necessarily the height as much as it is like weight training now is a big thing. Whereas before, like Van der Sar was not in the gym like some of these other guys are.
Correct.
The agility factor, they're a little bit more explosive now than they used to be. Because of all the training and because of the nutrition and all that stuff, they've gotten better. So it's harder for you to score on them. So over time, yeah, that's obviously changed a little bit. I don't think it needs to be a drastic change, but in the next 10 years, I wouldn't mind seeing a change of a couple of inches to each side of to the goal or to the height.
I don't think it takes away from much of the game. It's a change that you can easily implement that would positively impact, and there would be little downside. So I'm not too opposed to it as long as it's not crazy.
For all we know, they probably do it right now anyway. Nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing in basketball. People are saying that they should move the three-point line a little bit further back because it's a lot easier to score three-pointers now. Not easier, but players are so much better than they used to be.
Thank
Like
you,
Steph Curry.
Steph
Literally.
literally changed the game.
Single person.
Yeah. Which, that's when you know you're one of the all-time greats. You can they change rules because it's unfair because of what you've created for the game. So you're no, I'm yeah, and you're yeah.
I'm
I'm not.
I'm yeah.
definitely.
I'm yeah in
not
the future.
now.
I'm yeah in the future.
Fair.